If you want to know a fish's age, you can simply take one of its scales and count the bands spreading out from the center. For trees, you count their rings. For narwhals, it's the layers in their tusks. And for blue whales, scientists can even read age through layers of earwax. But humans, strangely enough, don't seem to carry any visible marker that tells our age with that same level of precision. That doesn't mean time leaves no trace on us. It just means those traces are hidden, buried deep inside the body. And over the past few decades, science has begun to uncover them. Invisible signals that don't just reveal how old you are, but also tell a deeper story about your health, your past, and even your future. One of the earliest discoveries came in the 1990s, involving a tiny but crucial structure in our DNA called telomeres. Imagine your DNA as a long thread, and at each end of that thread are protective caps. Telomeres are those caps, keeping chromosomes from sticking together or breaking apart. But every time a cell divides, a small piece of the telomere is lost. On its own, it seems insignificant, but over time, these losses add up. Eventually, telomeres become too short to do their job. When that happens, cells stop dividing, or they die. Because of this, scientists once believed telomere length could serve as a kind of aging clock. The shorter the telomeres, the older you are. It sounds simple, but reality is far more complex. Not everyone loses telomeres at the same rate. Some people age faster, others slower, even if they're the same age on paper. As technology advanced, researchers began looking deeper into DNA and found something even more fascinating. Scattered along your DNA are tiny chemical tags called methyl groups. These tags can switch genes on or off, like control buttons in an incredibly complex system. This process is known as DNA methylation. It happens constantly, allowing your body to respond to changes, adapt to stress, and maintain normal function. But scientists noticed that at certain locations in the genome, methylation levels change gradually over time, in a surprisingly predictable way. They don't fully understand why this happens. It could be the result of accumulated stress. It might come from small errors during DNA replication. But whatever the cause, researchers have used this pattern to build something remarkable: epigenetic clocks. By analyzing hundreds or even thousands of these methylation sites, scientists can estimate a person's biological age. Not the number of years you've lived, but how your body has actually aged, how much wear and tear your cells have experienced, and how well your systems are functioning. But aging isn't only written in DNA. It also shows up in the immune system. When you get sick, your body produces proteins to fight off threats. Once you recover, those levels usually go back down. However, as you grow older, something changes. The baseline level of these proteins doesn't return to what it once was. Instead, it stays slightly elevated, creating a constant, low-level state of inflammation. This phenomenon is known as inflammaging. Scientists are still trying to understand why this happens. It could be due to repeated exposure to pathogens and stress over a lifetime. Another possibility involves cellular senescence. When cells become old and stop dividing, they don't simply fade away. They release inflammatory signals that affect the surrounding tissue. By measuring these proteins, researchers have developed yet another way to estimate aging, another kind of biological clock, one that reflects the internal condition of your body rather than the number of years you've lived. Still, none of these clocks are perfect. They're not designed to tell you your exact age. Instead, they point to something deeper: biological age. Biological age isn't about how many years have passed. It's about how your body has lived through those years. Whether you've taken care of yourself, how much stress you've carried, whether you've slept well, eaten well, and stayed active. Two people can both be 30 years old, yet have completely different biological ages. One might have the body of someone in their mid-20s. The other might show signs of being closer to 40. And that difference isn't random. It's shaped by genetics, lifestyle, and environment. Even within a single body, different organs can age at different rates. Your heart might be younger than your liver. Your brain might be older than your muscles. The human body isn't a uniform machine. It's a complex system where each part follows its own timeline. Right now, these biological clocks are still a work in progress. Many experts don't recommend using them for personal testing just yet. Even though these tests are commercially available, their accuracy and real-world value remain uncertain. They work best when applied to large populations where patterns become clearer across thousands or millions of people. But for individuals, the results can be noisy, inconsistent, or simply not meaningful enough. Even so, the potential is enormous. Imagine a future where doctors can look at your biological age and detect a hidden health issue before any symptoms appear. A condition that hasn't surfaced yet, but has already begun deep inside your body. Or even further ahead, the possibility of slowing down or reversing these biological clocks, making cells younger, restoring function. It sounds like science fiction, but research is already moving in that direction. For now, though, most of these efforts haven't delivered clear results. And one major question remains unanswered. Are telomeres, DNA methylation, and chronic inflammation actually causing aging? Or are they simply signs of deeper processes we still don't fully understand? In other words, we may be learning how to read the language of aging, but we still don't understand its grammar. And maybe that reflects a larger truth. The human body, despite centuries of study, is still full of mysteries. The things we think we know often hide layers we've barely begun to explore. You live inside your body every day, but how well do you really understand it? Do you know what's happening beneath the surface when you wake up, when you work, when you feel stressed, or when you rest? Maybe the journey to understand the body isn't just about science. Maybe it's about awareness, about realizing that every small choice you make leaves a trace, not on the surface, but deep within you. And once you see that, time stops feeling invisible. It becomes something that is quietly being recorded, moment by moment, inside your body. If you've ever felt like you don't fully understand your own body, you're not alone. And maybe that's the best reason to keep learning. Not out of curiosity alone, but because understanding your body is, in many ways, understanding your life.